Hello everyone and welcome to the first video of this Zbrush basics course. On this video, we'll learn how the default interface is when we open Zbrush, what are the groups of windows we'll use, and how they are related to the different aspects on our workflow. First of all, just like other software you've probably already used, Zbrush has got a menu bar which is located on the superior part. This bar contains different resources in order to apply them to our work and gain more quality. This menu bar helps us on different stages of our sculpting. When creating our files, when creating our sculptures, when we paint them, when we like them, and when we generate the final image, which is the one we'll deliver. Step by step, on more advanced videos, we'll cover some of those options, but for the time being, let's continue just with the basics. This panel on the left, you see here, is a pop-up window which we can open or close by pressing these arrows you can see over here. As you can notice, on this lateral panel, we've got one of the windows that is also available on the menu bar. In this case, Tool can be found in both places. However, there is a big difference. It turns out the windows on the lateral panel will be visible at all times as we work. This will let us work faster and save a lot of time, since we wouldn't have to deal with the menus, search and select the option we want. Over here on the lateral panel, we'll always have our options handy. We can bring windows from the menu bar, and by holding and dragging we can add them to the lateral panel. That way, we can have more panels available for speeding up our work. However, as an advice, try to leave just the panels you'll need. Don't add panels you won't use, since otherwise, it'll make you difficult to find the tools or the menus you'll need. In case you want to remove a panel, you simply press on this button, located on the upper right portion of the panel, and it vanishes. Next to this pop-up panel, we have a bunch of options, which will let us interact with the objects we have in our canvas. Our canvas is this squared space we've got in the middle of Zbrush. It's where we can create our sculptures and smooth them. This will be our focus area. When I say we can interact with the objects, I mean we can see them from different angles, for us to be able to understand and have control over the shape we are creating. On this left panel, you can see here, we have different options. When we create our object, this panel is for interacting with the objects in our canvas. But this panel helps us create the object. For this explanation, let's have a look at one of the CG Maker's boards, which you can find on Pinterest. In this case, this is a sculpture example. And we have to generate that volume according to the character we want to make. Or this other sculpture, for instance, all the details we can see here related to our object's volume had been made with this portion we can see here. We've got some other options like the texture. The texture turns out to be kind of part of the painting, or the color details we'll add to our character. In this case, this texture menu works better with images. There are some features on this character that would be difficult to get by hand. We could pick the tattoos as examples. Making these tattoos by hand could imply a lot of time. While applying a texture, we could simply download an image from the internet, on this particular case a tattoo, and add it to the character. It's like projecting that image, projecting our image directly on our character. We've got here the color palette, quite related to the painting. Let's see another image. In this case, for the dinosaur, notice it's got a different range of colors. Perhaps some of these features have been achieved using textures. However, sometimes these color gradients are made through this panel. Different tones on blue, pink, yellow All these color options are made through this menu. We've got the materials. The materials are related to the character's look. But in this case, it's how the character interacts with the light. Let's have a look at another example. In this case, these spheres. Each one of these spheres have got a different material. Therefore, the light hitting these objects tends to bounce and behave differently. For the case of this plastic material, we notice, although it reflects its environment, the reflections on the surface are quite diffuse. It's not clear enough to differentiate the objects around it. In the case of the chrome, as we can see over here, we can notice the reflection is much clearer. We can get an idea of the environment around our sphere. That's due to the light behaving in a particular way. In this case, for this rough plastic, we cannot distinguish everything about its surrounding environment. Same happens with the wood and the concrete. These are materials. It's about the behavior of the light when it hits an object. Let's see some other images. In the case of this airplane, we can tell it reflects the sky, the concrete, and part of the mountains behind. For finishing, we have this panel located under the menu bar. These options are closely related to the brushes. It lets us modify the brush's attributes for us to modify our sculptures in one or a different way, and add details from the most notorious up to the most minimum. That's basically the function of this option. I hope now you could have got a more clear understanding of how the windows are arranged on Zbrush. Don't worry if you feel this explanation was too general and you still feel a bit lost. As we carry on with the videos, we'll study some of the windows, and little by little you will get how to use them and in what part of the process they should be used. Hope you have enjoyed this video, and I'll see you on the next one.